con il 169, una leggenda, ha vinto tutto, ha vinto mondiali, ha vinto Olimpiadi, e lei dalla Norvegia, Gunn-Rita Dahle Flesjå.
So now we are here doing a marathon again. We've had a week with doing a lot of well-prepared stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We know the track.
Yeah.
Why do you like doing these long events?
I think marathon has always been fascinating because that's where you really have the feeling of being out in nature, climbing big mountains and having descents where you really have to work for a long time. And I believe it's more fun also when you have the long downhills. So I also feel in many ways that that's where you meet people that have the same passion for what you're doing in many ways. They can also ride these courses, you know, they have fun as much as you do on a different level with different goals. So I believe I feel a little bit more attached to people that does marathon races in many ways.
Because when you do an event like that, it's probably achievement just to finish it, but how is it when you have during such a race? It must be like you go empty a few occasions, or it must be not just tough on your body but also on the...
Yeah, I think most when you have tough courses like we have here in Spillenbergo, it's like you know before you're even starting that you will hit the wall many times during the race. And you have to be mentally prepared for that because you have to work through it. And if you're not prepared for it and you let that decide the speed and your way of thinking and where your focus are more about how painful everything is, that's the same for everyone. If you can work with your mentality at these kind of critical points where you feel empty and you hit the wall, getting through those, thinking positive, yeah, that means a lot with total time for sure, and also the position in the end.
You've done a few marathons, like in the old days of mountain biking when you began. Normally the cross-country races were longer, and the climbs were longer, the descending was much longer. So now you have a good mix of doing that. But last time we did the marathon was in 2009.
Yeah, the last time we did the
European
Championship Marathon was in 2009, and that was just half a year after Bjørnar was born. The first one we did was back in 2002, and it was, in fact, that was the first medal we won and MERIDA ever won in a championship in history. That was back in 2002 when we first ever did the marathon European Championship. But
then you also you were overtrained before the Sydney Olympics, so you had like 2 or 3 years where you were
doing nothing, more or less.
So doing the Europeans was something we wanted to do the last season, like maybe like go full circle in one way, because it has a deep meaning for us, because some medals, some results has a deeper meaning, and it also has a more importance around it.
Yeah, story behind it.
And as long as you can fight in the top.
Yeah, and also championship itself has always been very important for us. It's representing your nation, your colors, and I think also taking a title, for instance, that means a lot because your sponsor can use it for the next coming years. So
sure.
Fighting for a medal means a lot for us, and taking a title, well, that we did a few times in the last 20 years. We know how important it is for our sponsor.
And it's not wrong that it's in Italy. That helps also.
Yeah.
The race.
Racing in Italy has always been something special for us, and we won a lot of titles in Italy, that's for sure.
Yeah, we love Italy, that's for sure.
This is one of the first climb in the course. It's after 10-15 k's and it's already rocky, so we have a lot of these parts in the course, and it's more like a long cross-country course in many ways because it's so technical, so good fun. Then we did the first 27 k's. We arrived here at the first tech zone. Now the last 2 climbs and the 2 downhills are really cool to ride. It's a flowing single track now, and it's very dry, so you can go full speed. It's great fun.
But what is the plan? What's the tactic you want to go out with?
Yeah, a dream start for me would be if we have high speed out from the start. That would be the best. But we start together with a group of women. We don't start with the men as we were prepared for. So I think it has a lot to do with not attacking in every technical course, but be quite far in the front. And every time you get into a technical part of the course, save as much as you can, as long as you can. And I think the first half of the course there will be a bigger group, and then it starts to fall off from behind. I have to make sure that I'm with the first one, and also I know where I have my strength when it comes to the long descending, the technical descending, where I should be one of the first ones starting. It's a lot. If you're able to do that, then you also have to be a big focus on drinking and eating the whole time.
So you want to have a high tempo as much as possible.
Yeah.
But
you have to be smart, and it is a course. It's a demanding course also when it comes to keeping your bike in one piece, like not having technical issue, because with the speed and the technical parts that is in the course, you can have also technical issues, and that is something you will like to avoid, of course. Having a flat here, you are most likely out of the
But you start with an extra tube, but also a cartridge?
I will start with an extra tube and also a cartridge with foam and air, just in case.
Extra sidewall protection on the tire?
Yeah, I use a high rolling Maxxis tire, Aspen, that has extra protection on the walls, just to hopefully prevent a puncture tomorrow.
But yeah, you will probably ride for 5 hours plus, maybe a little bit less, but the track is really dry, but for sure it's about flowing, but also you want to have attack early on. That's the thing.
Yeah, you have to be, I think even though you ride for so many hours, you have to think aggressive. You have to be up there and speeding and sprinting. So because the course is so much up and down, it's not like only one mountain where you go steady pace and find a rhythm. It's that part has a lot to do with actually cross-country racing. And I think the strongest one with having a tactic where you ride with kind of aggressive style like we have to have in cross-country will benefit me.
What's the goal for this European?
Of course, the important for us to go and head for a new championship, if it's the European or the Worlds, the goal is to fight for a medal, for sure. I will probably not be happy if I don't get a medal, but I will be satisfied if I get to the finish and really did my best. But it is fighting for a medal that is the goal for this weekend.
I know you better than that. You want to win.
I know on a good day I can win tomorrow. So preparing for a marathon race, of course, drinking and eating is a big concern. And if you want to do well and also not hit the wall too many times, it's also something you have to take care of. I brought a few products out on a perfect spot to show you how I do it and how I'm thinking during a race and also before a race. A marathon race like we have here in Spillenbergo with 104 Ks and more than 3,500 altitude meters needs for sure a lot of liquid and also a lot of energy. So I'm thinking like I eat a gel or a bar on the start line already, and then every 25, maximum 30 minutes, I put something in my mouth to eat. And here on this course, we have 7 feed and tech zones altogether. And in every tech zone, I will have minimum half a liter of liquid. And that will for sure be empty every time you get into a new station. So that will be important. And the weathercast also for tomorrow and this race will be maybe almost 25 degrees, and that means you have to drink a lot. So the Norwegian national team are sponsored by Maxim. So that means for championship I normally have to use Maxim bottles. For my team, Team MERIDA Gunn-Rita, I'm sponsored by Windforce, and Windforce I use for forever. I used it for many, many years also together with the Multirun MERIDA biking team. The most important thing I think for everyone is to find something that you believe in, that your stomach can handle, and that you also feel something that you get what you want out of it. So that means you have to test everything before on training before you go into a big race. So having something that you feel works for you is the most important thing when you choose what kind of nutrition you go for. When it comes to real food, the last days before a marathon race, I'm thinking a lot of, like, for breakfast, oatmeal, fruit and seeds and nuts. That's my normal breakfast most of the year. But I'm also thinking more carbo loading the last nights for dinner. That means for me, I prefer rice before pasta. Fish is something that works well for me the night before. And it's a little bit also about eating your meal the last day, so you don't go from breakfast to dinner and you forgot to eat the whole day. That doesn't work, especially not when you want to have your body full of energy before a long race. So a little bit from me how I experienced. I think for the race here, it's important that you drink and eat on the time on your watch, not when you feel like drinking or eating, because then it's normally too late. I also want to show you or tell you my story behind the dropper post. I'm using a MERIDA Big 9, a hardtail, for many of my races. But for exactly 1 year ago, I tested out for the first time ever a dropper post. And first I was kind of not so convinced that that would be something for me. But then Kenneth put on a dropper post on his bike and he left me in the downhill. And I just, of course, hate that. So I also have to test it out. Got it on my bike and it was kind of a little bit shocking and overwhelming to feel how many benefits that came out of getting a dropper post on a bike. That I say that in my age, so it was kind of a little shock. So a dropper post is something I have on all my bikes now, and the big advantage is, of course, you can ride safer. If you want to go faster, that's also much easier to do with a dropper post, and you can have much more fun. And I think it all has to do with that you can move so much more freely on a bike when you have your seat down. A saddle is not in the way for moving. And even though you're a little bit out for a second where you lost your grip or you are out of balance, it's so much easier to get back on your position again and you are in command again on your bike. So I recommend that for, at least it should be a must for everyone past 40, but I see also the young one, they just love it. You can ride so much faster downhill and you can have so much more fun. So I can assure you that at least test it out. I will never go back to a rigid seat post again.
I was happy that I'm not a cyclist when I was an athlete, because this is really tough. Have raced a lot of 50Ks on cross-country skiing. That's the longest distance in cross-country skiing, and this is 3 times harder. And you also have the scary parts, which you don't have in cross-country skiing, so you have to be focused for 5.5 hours. And the biggest climb is really hard. This is the 6th season. So it's been a very interesting, and I've learned a lot from the team around Gunn-Rita, Kenneth and her husband. So without their knowledge in my position, because I have not that much experience with mountain biking, so it's like treasure for me in my role. So also for the youngsters on the way up, they can learn. They can't read what you tell them, what Gunn-Rita and Kenneth is telling them, because it's experience for more than 20 years, and that you don't collect easily. And with all these medals, it tells for itself that they know what they do. And for a team like Norway, that's really, really important. An important part of having a team like this is that we have to be a lot of fun. And we work hard, but we still have to have fun. And on every race, we always have a kind of bet. So if I'm happy, I do something special. Like here, I will shave my hair if we are happy with the race. So we will see.
How does it feel?
It feels fantastic to be the European champion again. First time I won a title was back in 2002, winning the European Championship cross country. Today I really won gold for Norway, but as much also for MERIDA. Thank you, Taiwan. Thank you all MERIDA dealers around the world. I hope you will celebrate the gold with us today or tomorrow. MERIDA bikes, more fun. This is how it is when you lose a bet. Oh!
I saw thick hair. You have to stay for 2 hours. Especially on the top, it's so thick.
Men det ser jo fantastisk ut på bildet.
No more battery.
Nei, det tar jo på det. Ta bak da.
I think it looks fantastic.
Next
Was
betting,
it worth?
next betting we don't know yet. We'll see. Take what it counts.